I was convinced early on that we were dealing with a serial killer. And if we really knew the truth, I believe he's probably killed more people in Oregon than probably anybody else.
For a predator to be in a pen with all of the victims, who knows how many victims he's got?
He had opportunity. When that opportunity presented itself, he took advantage of it.
I don't know why. I mean, why? I guess he didn't need a reason.
What are the odds of being a prime suspect in all these murders? It wasn't until later, his first victim, that I even found out about this woman, and that she was still alive, and saying, oh man, she is lucky to be alive.
He's always been a demon in my life, lurking in the back of my head. And I found these words that express it very perfectly. It's called my darkness within. Some of my demons left me. Some are just asleep. A few always travel with me. Others haunt me from the deep. He was one of those. The little ones are charming. They're allowed to stay. The big ones tear me up inside. I just wish they'd go away. I'm sorry.
I know this road like the back of my hand. Same with the stations, only FM band. Farms and truck stops, fireworks stands. I know this road like the back of my hand.
Beginning in the late 1970s, a sinister presence cast a shadow over an isolated part of Central Oregon. It lurked in the background, ignored or unnoticed. Women, often vulnerable or marginalized, were disappearing. It wasn't until decades later that a reckoning finally came. My name is Noelle Crombie, and I'm a staff writer for The Oregonian. Over the past 2 years, I've investigated these crimes and the man who is suspected of committing them. I've read thousands of pages of police reports, traveled halfway across the country, interviewed dozens of witnesses, and spent countless hours driving the road along which the killings took place. This is a complicated story that jumps around in time, so throughout this video series, you'll hear from people who were present at the events they describe, as well as those who investigated them, in some instances, much later. You'll hear tapes of police interviews that were conducted years after some of the events they address. You'll learn information that has never before been made public. These are the stories of the ghosts of Highway 20.
Let me ask you another question then in this area. At any time ever, now think of this carefully, okay, have you gone ahead and been charged with any sex crime? Ever a suspect in any sexual crime?
Yes.
In 1977, Marlene Gabrielson was 20 years old. She lived in the small city of Lebanon along Highway 20 with her husband and their new baby. One night that June, the young couple dropped their daughter off with a friend so they could spend the night at the Sisters Rodeo.
I was underage. I shouldn't have been drinking. And I got angry about something. Now I can't remember. So stupid that I just walked off and said, fine, I'm going to go home.
She asked around for a ride, and eventually a man with a pickup offered to take her home to Lebanon, about 80 miles away.
I thought there was nothing wrong. I'd be safe. It wasn't that far from home. I didn't even look around inside the vehicle. All I knew, it was just a beat-up old truck, and I was going home to my kid.
The man with the old truck was John Arthur Ackroyd. Ackroyd was in his late 20s and lived in Sweet Home. He'd recently returned to the area after getting out of the Army and was working for a local welding company, though within a year he'd be employed by the state as a highway mechanic. That night, he took Marlene west toward Lebanon on Highway 20, a road he knew well.
I noticed that there was no, like, covers on the doors. There was no handles and no roll-you-down thing. I sat in the passenger seat and didn't even think, didn't even faze me that this was a trap.
Highway 20 twists and turns as it winds from Sisters to Lebanon, carving its way through mountainsides covered in dense evergreen forest. It's a sleepy stretch of road with little development and few landmarks, and it's dark at night. Exits lead to logging roads or campgrounds and quickly disappear into the brush.
I fell asleep, well, passed out. I woke up with my head banging on the seat and the edge of the outside of the truck door. He had grabbed me by my ankles and just yarded me out of there like I was just a rag dolly. And then he picked me up by the back of my neck and my hair and threw me up against this, like, a little hill. I felt like I was in a hollow because it was, I remember it was beautiful because it was all green and little flowers blooming, little tiny ones. First thing I thought was, how can you be hurt in this kind of beauty?
All I remember about it is this girl needed a ride home. She was over at Sister's Rodeo, and she was worried about her baby. She pleaded with me to go ahead and take her home so she can check on her baby. I said, okay. She wanted to pull over, and, you know, she kept sexually advancing towards me, so, you know, I pulled over. We tried to do it. I couldn't get up, and she got all bent out of shape.
He grabbed this knife out of a coffee can. That's where he kept his buck knife, the big knife he held to my throat. He put the knife to my throat and told me I was going to do everything he said. And I said, yes, I will. And he stuck the knife in the ground next to me. He grabbed the front of my pants, belt and all, and ripped my pants straight down, all the way down the front of my legs. And then he gets his knife and starts cutting off my boots. I just kept thinking, just close your eyes, but I kept, and just let it happen.
She accused you of having a knife. Right, when you raped her. I thought it was. Did you have a knife? There was a knife in one vehicle. What would it look like? Well, you see my dad's driver's license. So, what's that? Had a black handle with rock and another color. Did you threaten her with a knife? No. Did you cut her clothes off? No. Tear her clothes? No. Did she? She took her clothes off. Did she tear any of them? Didn't them not there while I was there.
He would grab my face like this, and because I would turn my head, and he would make it, open your eyes, look at me. Yeah, so I had to look at him, and I did. He got done doing what he wanted, and he kind of stood over me and looked at me, all, you know, standing over me with a hand on his hip. wiping his sweat away. You get treated like that and you don't even feel human. I just laid there and kind of wanted just to seep into the earth, just take my body and renew, bring new life in, something that's much happier than I am at this moment. He was gonna go in toward his truck and getting in keys in his pockets, and I said, okay, she's just gonna leave me here, buck-ass naked. I didn't want him to stay, but I didn't want to be naked out in the woods. I think he started gathering up my clothes, what was left there, because he didn't want to leave anything. My boots and all that stuff he ripped off of me. I just had my jacket on and a little t-shirt top. He goes, now what do I do with you? I go, you take me home. He goes, I don't know. Let me tell you, I was talking real fast, real low, and real sweet. Because evidently I wanted to live. I had a brand new baby and a new husband.
Aykroyd agreed to take Marlene home that night. Her jeans had been torn during the rape, so he gave her a pair of dirty pants. On the drive, she did all she could to keep him at ease, knowing a rifle and hunting knife were within easy reach.
I didn't want to make him angry. And he asked me if I'd be his girlfriend. And I looked down and I see that coffee can with the knife in it. And I said, yes. I had him take me to my husband's mother's house. Got on the porch and just started pounding on the door. He left immediately, just left. She goes, oh my God, what happened to you? I had bushes, twigs in my hair. She goes, you need to get in the bathtub right now. And I said, no, I can't get in the bathtub right now. I've just been raped. She wanted me to wash him off. No, I wasn't gonna wash him off. I'd hold that shit in until they got it. He will be in trouble once the police come and help me. I did go to the hospital and had a rape kit done. Then I took my shower.
Marlene's rape kit showed vaginal swelling and bruising and abrasions on her back and legs. She went to police and showed them her pants, which had been torn from the crotch to her ankles, her underwear, which had been cut with a knife, and her slashed boots. Despite this physical evidence, police were skeptical. They interviewed Marlene several times, focusing on minor inconsistencies in her story. They had her take a polygraph and concluded she was not telling the truth. Ultimately, they declined to pursue the case.
You took a polygraph on that, didn't you? Oh, did you? I think you did. I don't know. I did. I think you passed. Yeah. I don't remember if I did. Kind of out of your history. I'm going to remember that one.
I always thought that that's why these people get paid, to protect you. They care? That's what I thought. They care about you. All this system was put in place to protect people, not judge them by who you're married to, what color your skin is. They made me feel like a smelly, drunken native, so I just shrank. It's just another something that I went in my little life, in my young days. I let my guard down and I was so angry, so angry. If they would only have listened to me. And you know, I feel guilty sometimes. If they would have just listened to me, it could have all been avoided. All of it.
Marlene was a vulnerable young woman whose assault by a stranger should have provoked outrage and a demand for justice. Instead, her account was disbelieved, deepening her sense of trauma. The implications of law enforcement's failure to believe Marlene and aggressively pursue Aykroyd would be felt along Highway 20 for decades. She was his first known victim. Maybe, if police had listened to her, she would have been his last.
The deputy stopped in and told me that she had went down and brought charges of rape against me, which was a shock, you know. And they said they're investigating it. And I talked with the deputy a couple times, and he said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "This probably will not come to court." All charges was dropped.
They were supposed to put this man somewhere where he could not hurt anyone else. Look what happens. Look what happens. I hear I'm the only freaking survivor.
Every question in every breath, every exhale leaves a little death. In this way, and a memory that will wander with the ghost of Highway 20. Yeah, I know this road like the back of my hand. Same with the stations on the FM band. Phones and truck stops and fireworks stands. I know this road like the back of my hand.